Drew here from DAB Studios. That's Drew Allen Brown Studios. Coming to you out of Idaho. Good times here in Idaho. It's March, still cold. What do? You work on audio. That's what we do. So today we are looking at EQ, equalization. Fun thing. It's a great tool, but it can be a pretty misunderstood tool as well. So today we're not going to go into a lot of the real in-depth detail with equalization. Just kind of do a quick 101 style overview of what EQ is, what it looks like, and basically what it does. We'll go into finer details of how to use it appropriately later on. This will just give you a good starting point, something to grasp onto and go and play with. So today what we're looking at here is just a really simple two-piece recording. It was done live at a church. I have a good friend who's a concert violist, and he was doing a Christmas special. That was him and a piano doing Mary Did You Know? And it's a really cool piece. Sounds really nice. The piano was a baby grand piano, and baby grands are not my favorite piano to record. I would rather record a console piano than a baby piano. This one's specifically, this piano is pretty nasally. It just sounds really nasally. But it's what they had, and it was a single microphone setup. It was live, so it wasn't studio style environment. It's definitely some bleed over from the piano and the viola. You'll hear that. But let's just give you an idea of what we're looking here today. Here, I'll actually turn off the reverb. Give you a little. No, we'll leave that on. Give you a good idea of what we were doing. Put the delay back in. I like the sound of that viola. It just sounds cool. We'll take that delay out, take some reverb out, and we'll take the piano out. Just give you an idea of the viola. Basically dry. Dry meaning there's not a bunch of effects on it. We do have a few things. Okay, a couple disclaimers. Yeah, the meters are going up a little hotter than I normally have them. And digital, usually keep them green, just barely touching the yellow. Some of that is the compressors. Some of that is I have turned the volume up on these. And the other thing was that the situation that we had recording this had to use the church's mixing console, which the line out feature on that gives you a double on that board is extremely hot. Extremely hot. And I basically had my little 2-channel interface that I took with me. The preamps on that, the gain knobs were turned all the way down just so that it wouldn't clip. If I moved them up at all, it was clipping audio all over the place. So essentially we got what we got. Not the most ideal situation to do this under, but again, it's what we did. So yes, we do have a couple things going on here. Got a saturation knob, another saturation knob, got a double compression, which we'll go over next time, compressors, and we've got EQ. This is your generic, it's a stock plugin here in Pro Tools. This is the 7-band EQ that is just come stock. It's when you install Pro Tools and you get your everything else installed on it, this is what's there. It works great. It works really well. It's fairly transparent, which means it doesn't add a lot of character to the sound, which can be great if that's what you're looking for. If you're not looking for clean, if you're looking for something that adds character, you might have to choose something that adds a little bit of extra character. But this does a phenomenal job for what it is. And it's just a basic generic EQ. So let's take a look at it here. Here's your meters. Here we can actually play this. You can watch the meters go. In is the audio before EQ. Out is the audio after EQ. You'll notice that they're pretty close. Sometimes the in's a little louder. Sometimes the out's a little louder. There's reasons for that, and it's kind of interesting. I did my typical style EQing, which is pulling more information out than adding. You'll notice here, I've got 3.2 decibels out. I've got 2.4 decibels in. And then we've also done high pass and low pass. So we've definitely cut more than we've added, but where we boosted, we boosted just a really little bit, 2.4 decibels. It's in the right area where that viola just really shines and cuts through. And so the output seems to be just a hair louder than the input on some places. So you got to watch that, because you can clip inside here, which is maxing out the audio. Sounds horrid in digital. Don't do it. You can adjust your input gain. You can adjust your output gain. Right here is a polarity shift to where you can reverse your waveforms. Don't have to worry about that. High pass filter, in and out. Here's a graphic representation of what's going on. So you can see when you're going up by about how much, down by about how much, and then it gives you an idea of where the frequency is. Here it's going to tell you exactly what frequencies you're working with here on your frequency line, or on the bottoms here in the middle frequencies. Tells you what frequencies, negatives, and then decibels. You have your 20, 50, 100 hertz, 500 hertz. Basically from 100 to 500, it's the same amount of room as the 20 to 100. So you got to take this with a grain of salt and not just go, well, I just moved it, just a little bit. Doesn't matter. Pay attention to what you're doing down here. Biggest thing it really is use your ears. Pay attention to your ears more than the graph. 500 to 1K. It's again really, really small. 1K to 5K, 5K to 10K, 10K to 20K. Again, I mean, it's not a linear style representation. So be careful with this, but it does give you an idea of what you're looking at. So we've got our high pass going here, low pass going here. That's great. The low frequency didn't do anything with. Low mid here, the orange low mid. I cut out about 3 dB of a little over 300 hertz. And that 300 hertz, in fact, here, you know what? Let's go ahead and we'll bypass the audio, so you can hear what this all does. Here's the raw audio. So no EQ on this. Doesn't sound too bad. Here it is with. Let's go back through and we'll do it again with the EQ. Sounds a little bit more defined. It's defined, not refined. The highs are a little crisper. The lows are a little bit more natural. Feel a little bit more present. So a little counterintuitive thing here with the low mids. What I've done is I've pulled out, again, about 3 dB at 300, a little over 300 hertz, which was this nasty zone. Don't have a lot of time here today to go over a lot of this, so not gonna play it for you. But it's just this nasty frequency zone that didn't sound good at all. And so I brought it up, listened around. That spot didn't sound right. Pulled it down about 3 dB, which actually let the low ends shine a little bit better. Gave a little bit more definition and character. Then we came over, again, there wasn't really anything in the mids. Mid highs, right around, just below 4,000 hertz, so 3.7 kilohertz, which is 3,700 hertz. There was just this nice breathy spot in that viola, to where it just rang out. It made everything feel like a really nice stringed instrument. So we pulled that up about 2.4 decibels. Again, a really small move. I don't do a lot of really big moves in EQ because it just doesn't sound natural. And then didn't touch the highs really. That was just messing with it, trying to find stuff. It's really at 0 dB. And then did the low pass filter right here just to cut off a little bit more. Did the low pass at about 14K hertz, which gives it a little bit of a tubey feel. I like it. Some people, it's not their thing. For me, I really like it. I think it adds a little flair. So what this does, you got your high pass, you got your low pass. Let's take the low pass out for a second. Differences here. By default, I'd been playing with this, so by default, your low frequency and your high frequency on these are going to be what's known as a shelf. So if we bump that up, here, I'll pull that back a little bit. Bump that up, you get this nice flat area where everything on the lows, everything below that frequency point is going to get boosted. You take it down, everything's going to be taken away. Same thing here on the highs. Bump it, bring it down. It doesn't look like a shelf because the high pass, there we go, or low pass, excuse me. So it'd be the high cut. Looks really nice. Okay. That's what those do. That's your shelf. Otherwise, everything else is a bell to where you get a nice bell curve. Now, this knob right here is your Q. It's going to change what that bell curve looks like. You can do a pinpoint to where you're just affecting few little frequencies in there. Or you can really broaden it out to where it basically affects everything. To get it the most musical, I like to leave it kind of in the middle. Some of the defaults are a little too broad for me, so I'll narrow them up a little bit. But just use your ears, find out what's going to sound the most natural and what sounds the best. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's audio. What sounds best is best. So that's just really quick, nit and gritty, what EQ looks like in Pro Tools, how it works. Give you another chance to listen to this audio here real fast. We'll bypass it a couple times. So we'll start with a bypass, no EQ, and then we'll bring it back in. You know, hopefully on your system going through this recording and everything, it's not as high quality as what we're getting here. But if you can, hopefully you can hear with your headphones or your studio monitors a bit of difference here to where that viola just kind of brightens up. So that's it for today, guys. Yeah, I'm Drew Brown from Drew Allen Brown Studios, and this was just your real basic look at EQ. Have a good one.